boosted, unfortunately. It's all sunny. Oh, but that was partly cloudy, actually, which was weird. And then right when the event ended, it went back to sunny. Yeah, it was odd. Oh, why are we... Oh, shoot. What the heck? This was always a seed bomb, but I wonder if they're going Shadow Ball because I was lagging in the beginning. Screw it. Oh, man, that's exactly what they did. I need this to do a little, around like 40% of my health, and I'll be okay. If it does anything more than that, I think I might lose this if I don't catch. What is going on? Oh, man. They got third shield bugged. You know what? It's karma, baby. Okay. You're farming me hard in the beginning. And here we are. Little bro reversal. Hey everyone, I hope you're doing well as we wrap up this interlude season. If you've been watching my videos for the past few years, you'll know that I've been recording the vast majority of my videos from the seats in this apartment, and this will be the very last video I ever record in this apartment in Atlanta, Georgia. I will be moving over to California pretty much tomorrow at the time of this recording. Cranberry as well as Cheggy will be coming with me. They don't know it yet, but they're going to be in for a very long car ride. Anyway, before I head over, I found a Great League team that works really well. Super bulky team, pretty OP if I do say so myself, minus a few weaknesses that it does struggle to face. But since the release of Araquanid, I really wanted to give it a shot and see how well it does. It was simmed to be very strong before its release, but Niantic changed some of its movesets. But it's actually still quite deadly, especially against Walreins, as nothing really walls it off in the meta besides this. The team I ran is Araquanid with Registeel and Galarian Stunfisk. All three Pokemon are super bulky, so it gives you a lot of play in a lot of neutral matchups and even in some bad matchups too. Before we get into the rest of the footage, a big shout out and thank you to all my patrons who've been supporting my content creation. If you would also like to have early access on my strategies and lineups, or see behind the scenes footage of my battles, feel free to sign up in the link down below. Galarian Stunfisk is probably one of the harder leads, so why not start it off with that and see how I handle it. So typically speaking, I try to catch a Rock Slide on my own Galarian Stunfisk. And a lot of times it does work because you do have Bubble Beam as a debuff move, so people really want to throw that Rock Slide as soon as possible. They actually swap in their own Araquanid. I assume trying to catch an Earthquake. Unfortunately, it does not pan out, and they double shield here. Araquanid is actually very bulky, so despite being even against a Galarian Stunfisk, it's still not as bad as you would think it is. What's up, Cran? Don't like spiders? All right, she is out of here. Anyway, this thing is quite menacing if you do see it. But because I grabbed both of my opponent's shields, I am going to just come in with my Registeel here and, lock itself in. And now it comes in with a Galarian Stunfisk, and my opponent is just going to concede right there. So yeah, if you can make use of that catch play and catch a Rock Slide, it's very nice. Otherwise, it is kind of a tougher lead. Now here we see Walrein, which is its main purpose and what it defeats. Very strong. My opponent also swaps out here, and the reason why I don't swap out is because I have a Registeel as well, which is a very strong strike to Walrein, and Galarian Stunfisk is actually not that bad at all either. So this whole team is very strong. I don't build up to Bug Buzz, but it's enough to get my opponent to consider shielding, and they do. They do throw a Shadow Ball, and Shadow Ball, as you can see, still surviving it. Araquanid is super bulky. I believe someone told me once that it's bulkier than a Lickitung in Great League, and Lickitung is very bulky, so just put that in perspective of how thick this spider is. All right, and like I said before, my team is very strong against Walrein, so even in this matchup, I don't really have to worry about it after my Araquanid is taken out. Here comes the Trevenant. I don't get to the Zap Cannon, but that's fine because this thing can only do so much against a Galarian Stunfisk with this health remaining. I'm going straight for the Rock Slide, which should take it out. But yeah, because of because of Araquanid's typing, it fully resists anything that Walrein can learn, which makes it super strong because Walrein, as many of you have noticed in the past few months, it has taken over the meta in both Great League and Ultra League, and sometimes even Master League as well. It's just super strong because nothing really fully resists it, besides Araquanid and Surskit actually, but no one's going to use that. All right, against the Trevenant lead, I find that 90+% of Trevenant users in the lead will bait you with a Seed Bomb, so I never shield, and then I build up to Bug Buzz and throw a Bubble Beam usually, because they assume that I'm probably just going for the big damage move if I'm not going to shield instead of the debuff move, but usually that combo works. But this opponent did swap out and end up throwing a move right there, and then now they come in with their Trevenant here. This is probably going to be a Shadow Ball, so I'm going to shield it because it's going to do more than anything that Scrafty is going to throw at me. I'm going to build up to a little extra energy here, knowing that, yeah, it's not going to take it out, and now I have an Earthquake ready for the Scrafty, which it should likely shield. It's probably just going to be a Power Punch, which is fine, because I know I survived it quite handily. Even a Foul Play, I think at that range should be okay. I'm going to go straight for that Bug Buzz for neutral. Does quite well against Scrafty and takes it out. Yeah, it's pretty good against Medicham as well. A very common fighter too, just because they're both doing neutral there. Alright, so Nidoqueen here. Most are not running Stone Edge in Great League Open, and most do not even build to it, so it's pretty obvious. What I like to do there is just tank both of these Poison Fangs and then now swap over. So the reason why I do this is because even though Nidoqueen does beat Registeel at that health range, Registeel can handle Nidoqueen, so you want to put it low enough so that one Focus Blast should take it out. My opponent actually comes in with a Deoxys Defense here, which is not too bad for the Registeel, just because Registeel just hits so hard, and debuffing on top of that, it's just a very tough matchup. So my opponent is going to continue throwing Thunderbolts here and takes me out. I decide to actually come in with my Galarian Stunfisk here, and I think this probably is Poison Fang, so I'll let it go. And now I'm going to farm up a lot of energy here, and I'm going to throw it. Main reason I did that is because those counters are debuffed, and Deoxys Defense really doesn't have anything it could do throw effectively against Galarian Stunfisk, so farming it with mud shots there is very handy in my opinion. I am going to come in with my Araquanid because I was already debuffed on my Galarian Stunfisk. I didn't want to take too much damage from the Foul Plays and Shadow Claws, and now able to farm down the Deoxys Defense, throw a Bug Buzz. They do have some energy here, but just not enough to take me out. They need at least 2 Foul Plays, maybe 3, or some extra Shadow Claw damage, but able to take it out right there. All right, Toxicroak. Toxicroak is kind of a difficult one because they're resisting the bug damage with the fighting type as well as the poison type, I believe. So you only could really throw a Bubble Beam, so it makes it a little bit harder of a matchup than Medicham and Scrafty. You do have to watch out for the Sludge Bombs, and I'm actually shocked that my opponent actually baited Mud Bomb because it's resisted, but they actually went for the bait and got my shield there, so kudos to them. I am in a tough spot, so I'm not going to burn both shields. It's probably likely another Sludge Bomb. It does take me out, so I do come in with my Galarian Stunfisk because those mud shots are super effective, do a little chip damage, and the rock size are enough to take it out. I do swap over to my Registeel after I build up enough energy on my Galarian Stunfisk because I figured I probably need some of it to handle the back end. And now we are going to go straight for another Zap Cannon. I was able to go for the Focus Blast too, but if I get to the Zap Cannon, might as well debuff while I'm at it, just because I know I'm going to take a Mud Bomb here. That's fine, and I'm going to farm, try to farm it down and go straight for the Earthquake. I actually thought my opponent didn't have shields at this point, but turned out they probably thought I was baiting. I think it would have worked out either way because the Toxicroak was in mud shot range, and I could have built to another Earthquake in time either way. So yeah, kind of worked out. Toxicroak is definitely a tougher lead for sure. Another fighter lead, Scrafty, like I said, is taking neutral here, and you really don't even have to shield the Foul Plays. Power Punches are resisted, and Foul Plays, as you can see, do not do that much damage. I do shield this one actually, just because I want to preserve it. My guess is they have something else weak to Araquanid, which is why they didn't decide to stay in. And here comes the Medicham. So this is what we were worried about. It makes sense. So it's an ABA fighter team. So Scrafty and Lee with the Medicham in the back. Kind of interesting. Not really sure how they handle Charmers, but I guess you don't really see that many Charm users these days. So kind of makes sense. Alright, able to debuff this quite a bit though, which is kind of nice. And going straight for the Bug Buzz here. So that's going to do a good chunk of damage. Not as much as I kind of hoped. But that's okay. They do go for a Psychic here, and I get debuffed here. They have a lot of energy on this thing, and they go for back-to-back Psychics. This is not a good time for me. I'm going to let this Power Punch go through, build up just a little extra energy, and they do end up catching on their Skarmory, which is not a big deal, to be honest. I think maybe they're going for the catch on an Earthquake, but at that range, I was going to throw Rock Slide either way. But I'm hoping this is a Brave Bird, because then the Rock Slide would be enough. My opponent's very smart and decided to go for double Sky Attack without debuffing themselves, and yeah, puts me quite low, unfortunately. And because I didn't debuff myself, that Rock Slide is not enough, and they still have the match in the back. So really well played by my opponent, despite going into a Araquanid lead. But yeah, sometimes that will happen. Araquanid does have to do a little extra work sometimes. I kind of froze up a little bit in this situation. I didn't really want to take the first Rock Slide, but I figured I'll try to catch at least the second one. And in this situation, I no shield the Earthquake, and I go straight for a Earthquake myself, and they shield. So this is not good. They have a lot of energy on this thing as well. Yeah, we're not in the best spot. So I'm going to shield this. Luckily, it is an Earthquake and not a Rock Slide bait, because that would be awful. But I do go for a Focus Blast here, and let's see what my opponent does. They let it go, and now they come in with Deoxys Defense. I get the Snipe down with the Bug Buzz, and now they come in with their own Araquanid. So this is kind of interesting. So I am going to start throwing Bug Buzz. These things are super bulky on both ends, so it's not going to be a fun time. I do end up shielding here, and I got a little greedy going for the Bug Buzz. I should have just thrown a Bubble Beam, and yeah, as you can see, I still didn't throw it after all that. So that's not great, but they are going to debuff me here for sure. And now I'm going to throw the Zap Cannons. I'm debuffed, but I'm going to start debuffing this Deoxys Defense. Is it enough? We'll see. Most Deoxys Defenses are running Thunderbolt these days, and this one is no exception, so that is unfortunate. But we do put it quite low, able to lock it on down. Do we get the Focus Blast in time? And we do, just barely. I think they're probably just at the Bubble Beam, and able to finish off a very tight match. But you'll see that a lot, especially if you run into Araquanids, because they're just so bulky. All right, in Sableye matchups, I always shield the first foul play, and I throw straight away for Bug Buzz. I think a lot probably expect the Bubble Beam, so almost none of these Sableyes ever shield. In that situation, whenever they don't shield, I go straight into my Regiseal and start locking on and farming as much as I can. I'm just going to tank all these foul plays. That's okay. And they come in with a Azumarill. This is perfect. This is the best matchup for my team against the Azumarills, so I feel pretty happy about that. And I get to 2 Zap Cannons before they throw a single move. Let's see what they do. They do finally shield, and they are probably going to throw... let's see. They throw a Hydro Pump, actually. So this one's probably running Play Rough and Hydro Pump, but they are double debuffed at this point. So I can just comfortably Bug Bite this thing down, get a lot of energy. I know they have very low health on the Sableye. I have no idea what they have in the back end, but with this much energy on Araquanid and a Galarian Stunfisk still healthy, it's going to be a good time. And it is a Skarmory, so this is actually pretty solid. Mudshrots are resisted here, so it's not great, but you know, the Rock Size will add up. And they do still have the Sableye to swap to clear the debuffs, which is exactly what my opponent did there. But they just end up giving me a little bit extra energy as well on top of that. So I don't know if it's going to pay off here. I mean, this is a tough matchup for them either way. They are going to probably shield this Rock Slide, and I'm going to just try to throw these Bubble Beams to finish it off. I do have more than 2 saved up. They actually no shield there. Oh, they don't have any shields left. That's why, yeah. But I'm going to shield right here because I have the entry, and we go straight back-to-back Bubble Beams and take out the Skarmory. All right. Froslass is kind of a tough one. They're resisting pretty much all your moves except for Bubble Beam, and Bubble Beam's not the best move, especially if you're trying to do damage. So, but they actually swap into Shadow Swampert. I find that most Shadow Swampers are not running Earthquake. This one actually is, which makes sense why they no-shielded. But because of that, I'm going to work really hard to win switch here. This is probably Hydro Cannon, but I'm going to shield just to be safe. This will force them to throw a lot more energy with the Froslass if they decide to come back in with it, and they do. So if I didn't shield the Hydro Cannon, I probably get taken out before landing the Zap Cannon here. but we do throw the Zap Cannon, and they're quite low, and I go straight away to my Raquanid because they no-shielded, so I don't really want them to farm down my Registeel at that point. And my opponent is going straight Play Roughs here, so a little bit tougher, but I do get the defense drop, and Raquanid, like I said, just super bulky, able to do only resisted damage against this Azumarill, but still chunking away at this Azumarill. Obviously, the defense drop helped quite a bit. We get a double defense drop, which is huge. Yeah, so this is going to be interesting. My opponent does come back in with Froslass, but I'm just going to commit to a farm down here. I know I survive an Avalanche, and they are going to concede right there. All right, speaking of Azumarills, like I said, not the best matchup, but at the same time, look at those Bug Bite skill, right? They're doing resisted damage, but still adding up quite a bit. Most Azumarills these days are running Play Rough, so what I like to do is just farm up some energy and then swap over in case I need that energy in the back end, and I could tank the Play Rough pretty comfortably. So they actually come in with a Alolan Marowak. This used to be a hard wall to Registeel, but with Zap Cannon, it's a lot better of a matchup. Still not great, but you know, something has to check Registeel, right? So this is still a fairly strong, decent check, and they actually let it go. So Registeel actually beats it. I did shield on my end though, but in the past you would definitely not be able to do that. So this entry did come in handy here. I am going to have it for this Trevenant. I'm thinking that this is actually a mistake the more I think about it, because Galarian Stunfisk is not going to be able to... I think Galarian Stunfisk actually probably has a better matchup against Trevenant than Azumarill does. So at this point, I'm just hoping they don't have Hydro Pump, because I do burn my shield there to shield the Shadow Ball. And they come in with Azumarill. And let's see what they have. They haven't shown their second move yet, and they actually let the Earthquake go through. I go straight for a Rock Slide here. Let's see if they shield this. They don't shield it. Very gutsy play, but they knew their counts. And I do luckily catch an Ice Beam here, which means that they probably don't have Hydro Pump. I know I live one Ice Beam here, but I unfortunately need to get the 2 Rock Slides, and these bubbles are just going to add up a little too much. So, really well played by my opponent. Tough matchups, but yeah, it was still a good one. All right, so whenever they come in Registeel here, I like to bring in my Galarian Stunfisk. If you bring in your own Registeel, you are always going to be a little bit behind. I also let the first move go. Some Registeels opt to go for Zap Cannon on the first one, debuff yourself, which ends up being kind of a waste of a shield. At this point, too, they could go Zap Cannon here, and I really don't mind it, and my opponent does right here, because it's more energy to throw that Zap Cannon anyway for, you know, and so they either throw a more efficient move, but don't debuff me, or they throw more energy. So what I'm going to do here is I was able to get their shields. I end up catching an Earthquake, which is huge. And then now I can Bug Bite this thing down. Now, I know they still have their Registeel here. And what I was actually doing right there is hoping to stall the timer. So I purposely stopped tapping and took a Hydro Cannon, because I just didn't want to get farmed down by the Registeel. But they actually end up coming in with their Ninetales, which is kind of interesting. So I'm going to shield. Ends up being a Zap Cannon, but that's fine. This will still KO the Registeel. And even while debuffed, this is not a fun matchup for a lone Ninetales. Luckily for them, I don't have Flash Cannon on this thing, but Zap Cannon still hits quite hard. I'm going to just do a courtesy shield here, but nothing to throw will take me out, and we could just finish off with lock-ons. All right, Lickitung. Like I said, Lickitung, roughly similar bulk to Raquanid, but my opponent does swap out right here. And they come in with the Nidoqueen. I'm going to shield what might be Earth Power, and it is. I'm going to farm up a little extra just in case they decide to no-shield this, so I get some residual energy. They do end up shielding, though, so that's fine. And then it looks like we might have CMP'd here. And unfortunately, I end up shielding a Poison Fang. So that's not fun. But they do shield here, and I end up catching, hopefully, an Earth Power on my Raquanid, and I do. So that's absolutely huge. My whole backline is very solid at this point against the Nidoqueen, especially at this health range. So I feel pretty comfortable. Now I'm going to debuff this thing. I could still be losing the back-end matchup quite a bit, so I do have to be careful about that. Now I'm just going to debuff it. I think my plan here is, one, not faint out without throwing my move like I did before in this video, but also I'm going to generate as much energy as I can on Registeel. Right now, Galarian Stunfisk has energy. I want energy in my Registeel as well, so no matter what I see in the back end, with all shields down both sides, hopefully I could do quite a bit here. So I am actually going to come in, go to max energy on Registeel, now come in with the Galarian Stunfisk and farm up to max energy on this and just throw a Rock Slide. I didn't want to throw the energy on the Registeel because that would feel like kind of a waste there. And then they come in with the Nidoqueen. I know their energy dries, so I'm going to farm up to 100 energy again and then throw another Rock Slide. Maximize as much energy as I can, and it's going to pay off here. They have a Medicham, which beats both Galarian Stunfisk and Registeel, but not both of them when they're both loaded with energy. And that is how you handle a backline disadvantage. So, a lot of fun with both Pokemon being able to swap back and forth and build up just a bunch of energy too. Makes the gameplay a little bit more dynamic too. All right. You all have seen this team before, right? Diggersby and a safe swap Charmer. Unfortunate for them. I do have the Registeel here, and I could probably just lock on farm this thing down, which is not going to be good for their Diggersby because they're still going to take super effective from these Focus Blasts. And the Raccoon is actually pretty solid against Diggersby. You only take neutral from fire because of water subtyping, and you resist the Earthquake. So unless they're running Hyper Beam, they don't really have much to throw at you. That's very effective. All right. Don't get to that last Focus Blast, so that's okay. We do have the Raccoon, and still they go for the Earthquake, and as you see, very little damage. And here comes the second Charmer. So Diggersby double Charmer, not going to be a good time, but this team is going to beat that quite handily. Thank you all for watching, and thank you all for being a part of my journey in Atlanta, Georgia. I will catch you all next time when I am on the West Coast. I might make a vlog video of my journey across the country. It'll be a short-ish trip. If you like this video, feel free to give it a like and share, subscribe for future content, hit that notification bell to get alerted right when I post a new video, and I'll catch you all next time in a completely different apartment. Bye.